Hello, and welcome back to Dan's Card Corner. So, this is another wrestling episode, the second wrestling card mania, if you will. And this time, I have a whole bunch of unopened packs of cards to open, primarily from the 2000s and 2010s and the present day, more or less. But there's at least one set of older cards to open as well. Those are actually the ones that least fall into the category of trading cards, but they're also the first ones we'll do, since we will be opening them in chronological order. Now, of course, this will look like one continuous video, but in reality, I've actually been recording this in bits and pieces over the last couple of months, and then reassembling those into chronological video. But I think, through the magic of television, you won't be able to tell the difference. I predict that you'll find it to be completely seamless. At the end, I'll also have an interesting little extra bit to throw in, but for now, let's get into it. Alright, so first, we got a big old thing from 1998, I believe. These are World Wrestling Federation still, photo cards. 2 packs of 6, WrestleMania Live. It's the next best thing to being there. I don't know about that, but this obviously is from around the time of WrestleMania 15. And actually 1999, sorry, I said 98, but that's obviously not true. But yeah, let's open this up and see what we can free from inside. Come on. They used that diamond plate pattern a lot during that Attitude Era, didn't they? Alright, so... yeah, these are, I think, going to be oversized cards. They're in, like, photo envelopes, and, yeah, it feels big. So let's see what's in here. It's a set of 54. Yeah, giant 4x6 glossy images. See, I don't know if these really count as cards per se, but, you know, technically speaking. Anyway, we got a nice Battle Royal shot. That's the 20-man Battle Royal from WrestleMania 2 back in '86. Not one of the best WrestleManias, but, yeah, still a good Battle Royal image nonetheless. I see Big John Studd in the background there. That looks like Hillbilly Jim getting... a cravat from the Iron Sheik, maybe? Oh yeah, he has the shoes. That's the Sheik. Who else? There's one of the Killer Bees. I think that's King Haku, who was such a nice guy when I met him. You know, he has that reputation as being like the baddest man in the world backstage. You know, the one guy nobody messed with. But yeah, he was really cool to meet. And a guy I always really liked. Haku, Meng, whatever you want to call him. In fact, he even signed the 8x10 I got from him. He signed as both names. He put King Haku and he put Meng on it. Anyway, yeah, that's a cool image from WrestleMania 2. So here's the Spike Pile Driver from the New Age Outlaws on Mankind. That's from, I guess it's still the lead up to WrestleMania 3. WrestleMania 3. WrestleMania 15, I meant to say. There's Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat classic match from WrestleMania 3. One of the all-time great matches. That's a cool one to have. I met Steamboat a couple times too. He was really cool. And Too Cold Scorpio and the Blue Meanie. I met both of them. They were really cool. Hardcore Holly was surprisingly nice. So yeah, the Job Squad there. I actually kind of forgot Meanie was in the Job Squad. I remember him as, like, Goldust's flunky for a while, but, yeah, I guess he was in the Job Squad now that I think about it. Then we got Austin and Savio Vega. That was WrestleMania 12. I remember that being a pretty good match. Savio, he should have won the King of the Ring in '95. I thought. They gave it to Mabel, but, like, the whole thing was kind of built up to be, like... the crowning of Savio Vega, like he was the clear-cut winner. Booking-wise, like he should have won that one. Maybe it would have been a bigger deal in the, you know, the mainland if he had. Anyway, here's Mankind putting the mandible claw with Mr. Sacco on Ken Shamrock. So this is like a profile card. Alright, so pack number 2 of these photo cards. Alright, so there's Rookie Edge. Who would have thought he'd still be wrestling? On the one hand, who would have thought he'd still be wrestling, but on the other hand, it is weird to have, like, seen his entire career. Like, his debut all the way up to his first retirement, and then, you know, his comeback run in AEW now. That'll probably be his last run. Started in the comeback in WWE, obviously, but yeah, still has the downward spiral as his finishing move, which was kind of like a... That was like a complete shot, or I think it might have morphed into more like a flatliner, like a reverse Russian leg sweep, and then he ditched it entirely for the what was it, the Educator, and then the Impaler DDT version he used, and then he started doing the spear. Yeah, good early shot of Edge there. I remember thinking he looked so cool when he came out with like the trench coat and stuff. Anyway. Here's Shawn Michaels and Big Daddy Cool Diesel from WrestleMania 11. Good, you know, rest hold shot there. Here's Rock dropping the elbow on Triple H. Would that have been, oh, I guess it's a profile on The Rock. Yeah, I don't know if, that looks like just the Raw mat and the Raw set. So, yeah, I was going to say, is that the ladder match from 14? But I don't think so. It was that feud, though, anyway. In fact, the first live show I ever went to was from the lead up to SummerSlam that year, SummerSlam 98. And they had a match that was... it was Triple H versus The Rock, and it ended up being like a big schmoz. Like D'Lo came in to help The Rock, and then the New Age Outlaws came in to help Triple H. So it was like a double DQ, or they just threw it out. And then it was restarted as a tag match with The Rock and D'Lo versus the Outlaws. Anyway, that's a good picture of Austin there. From the red shirt era, the red Austin 316 shirt. Oh, this is the checklist, I guess, for the whole set. So that's nice to have, and yeah, good shot of Austin on the front. There's Mark Henry. I was gonna say from the sexual chocolate phase, but actually no, that's still the Nation singlet he's wearing there. He might have been starting to do the sexual chocolate gimmick when this card set was issued, though, and I see I'm actually right, because that is how he's listed on the back. The whole storyline with China. And there's a cool shot of The Undertaker, too. That's against Jake the Snake. That was WrestleMania 7. Which, I saw that one. That might be the WrestleMania I've seen it in its entirety the most, because my buddy had a VHS tape of WrestleMania 7, and every so often we would pop that in, because I think he had, like, WrestleMania 7, and he had a Royal Rumble. I don't think it was 92. It might have been 92, but I don't think so. 92 is one of the best Rumbles still, for my money. And was held in Albany, so I kind of wish I'd gone to it live, but that was before my live show days. Anyway, yeah, cool shot of The Undertaker, either post-match or at least, you know, during a time in the match against Jake where he was on top. So yeah, cool photo set, you know, nice big glossy cards. These are like the size of, you know, actual photo prints you get back in the 90s. And yeah, got some good images. The Austin one, you know, that's a good action shot of Mankind there. The Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat match, classic match. The Battle Royal shot, just, you know, as Battle Royals go, that's a good image. The Taker one's good. So yeah, cool photos. Again, not exactly trading cards, but still fun to collect anyway, to have with your wrestling merch. And I unfortunately did have to kind of destroy these old sealed envelopes to open them, but yeah, I'll keep them in those anyway. Good stuff. I'm a great magician. My clothes are red. Alright, so moving to a different promotion, we have TNA Impact. These are inaugural edition Tristar cards, 2008. I actually opened 2 packs of these, the same wrappers even, on the first Wrestling Cards episode. So, no surprises as to the type of cards we'll find in here. That said, we didn't find any of the autographs or anything like that, so yeah, maybe we'll find something special this time. See if we walk out there. I don't know. There we go. All right, so referee Andrew Thomas. He was a decent ref, actually. I think did I see something about he works like backstage for AEW now, something like that. I thought I saw his name somewhere recently. It's like a backstage guy now somewhere. Maybe it wasn't him, but yeah. Anyway, I guess even the referees got cards in this set. Oh, and NASCAR's Hermie Sadler, who kind of floated around TNA a little bit for a while there. Yeah. Henley F. Charmel. This was probably a couple years before the infamously bad match against Jenna Maraska she had. But yeah, this is not the most auspicious pack so far. Nothing wrong. I mean, Charmel's fine as a valet. I think she's actually in the Hall of Fame in WWE, isn't she? But yeah, I mean, she was a Nitro girl. She was Booker's valet. I thought she was good in that role as Queen Charmel. But yeah, as an in-ring talent, not so much if that Jenna Maraska match is anything to go on. And that was, again, in TNA, so... Anyway, well, here's LAX. This is the Homicide, Hernandez, and Shelly Martinez lineup. Did she have a different name? It wasn't Ariel. That was when she was a vampire in WWE. But what was her name? And it probably says on the back. Hernandez, Homicide. It doesn't even mention her on the back. What was her name in LAX? Put it in the comments if I don't... Salinas. Salinas? Was it Salinas? I think it was Salinas. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Anyway, there's the Velvet Sky, possibly a rookie card. This, we actually, is the same card we had in one of the packs in the previous episode, so we've seen that one already. At least we didn't get a double of the Vince Russo card, so I'll say that. But, yeah, not the strongest showing. I mean, the LAX one is decent. You know, Charmel as a valet is fine. It's really just that one infamously terrible match she had, to her negative credit. But, yeah, that could be a rookie card for her, too. I don't know. I'll have to check on that. Maybe she had, like, a Nitro Girls card or something that she was on, but, you know, back in WCW. But, anyway, so yeah, those are kind of the picks, and then you have like a referee, you know, Hermie Sadler, whose role was kind of like as like a TV guy. He did appear a few times as like a special ref on screen. And then again, the Velvet Sky card, nothing wrong with that, but it's a double. It's a duplicate of a card I already had, so yeah, not the strongest pack there for overall, I'd say. And it was 5 cards. Is that what it was supposed to be? Oh, it is 5 cards. I was thinking the previous packs had more in them. Maybe I'm just thinking because I opened 2 of it last time. Anyway, that's the TNA set this time. Alright, so next up we have WWE Champions. These are Topps from... When are these from? 2011, right there. So 2011. So that's these might be interesting to open up. I don't think I have too many other cards yet from that time frame. Orton doesn't look a whole lot different now. I guess he does have more tattoos or whatever. But anyway, see what we got here. It's 7 cards per pack with foil cards and authentic autograph inserts. Probably, given my general past history of opening these on camera, we probably won't get any of those, but you never know. We'll see. Alright, so who do we have here? There's an Edge on the top of the ladder. I kind of like the embossed foil logo on these. Yeah, Edge as a World Heavyweight Champion. Reversed his fortunes in December 2010 as he entered a fatal 4-way against Kane, Rey Mysterio, and Alberto Del Rio at TLC. And we got Rey Mysterio doing the 619 on Punk. That's a WrestleMania 26 match card. Mysterio beats Punk. There's Melina as Divas champion, although she doesn't have the belt on the card itself. I always like that, like when I get autographed 8x10s from wrestlers or whatever. A lot of times, like almost always, if one of the options, because usually they'll have a couple of different pictures you can pick from if you haven't done these kinds of things. A lot of you probably have, but if you haven't, a lot of times when you go up to somebody's merch table, they'll have a few different choices of pictures they can autograph. And if it's somebody that has had different gimmicks over the years, like Tugboat, for instance. I met Tugboat and he had pictures of Typhoon and Shockmaster and Tugboat that you could pick from. But anyway, if they have a photo of themselves with a title belt, I always like getting those signed. And certainly for cards, like the Edge card with the belt, you know, they're always cool with belts too. So it doesn't even matter what the title is, but if they have a belt, it's always a cool picture to have. Certainly for the 8x10s to get signed. I have like a Gail Kim that has her as Impact. I think it actually has her with the Impact, the singles and the tag team knockouts titles. So that's a cool one. Ricky Steamboat, I actually have two of him. One as a U.S. champion, WCW U.S. champion, and one, was it WCW even? I think it was WCW. Could have still been NWA. But anyway, as U.S. champion, and then I have another one of them as Intercontinental champion. So kind of the equivalent belts from the two promotions at the time. But yeah, anyway, I guess my original point, kind of interesting that they picked for this profile of Melina as Divas champion, that they didn't put a picture of her with the belt on the front. I know that would have been the butterfly title that nobody really liked, but all the same. So there's the checklist. So that's, yeah, that kind of wastes a slot in the card lineup, I guess. So what do we have here? This is the formation of the core. I was gonna say it was, you know, some of the Nexus guys, but you know, not with the armbands or anything. And yeah, there's Big Zeke there. So yeah, that's Gabriel doing the 450. I think that's Edge they were beating up. I don't remember them beating him up, but I guess they did. But yeah, the core, kind of a ill-fated spin-off of the Nexus. There's a pretty cool shot, Big Show and CM Punk in the ladder match. Yeah, that's Big Show unmasking CM Punk, because, you know, we certainly didn't know what he would look like. But yeah, that was when he got his head shaved, so he started wearing a mask. Oh, and speaking of both ill-fated and images with belts, there's DiBiase Jr. with the $1 million title. I think I actually have, because we actually did do I think in 2012 maybe? 2012, 2013, it was one of the early House of Hardcore shows where they had Ted Jr. and Sr. as special guests at the same signing table, so we actually did get autographs, me and my buddy, from both of them. So I think I do actually. It's not this picture, but I think I do have a signed photo of him with the $1 million title. But yeah, anyway, not a bad pack. No, like, special cards, but a few kind of neat photos anyway. Now we've got 2017 Road to WrestleMania with a very, very shiny package, and apparently a bonus relic card is inside. So let's see what we got here. Pretty thin pack. I'll just rip it. Alright, so we've got Daniel Bryan tribute card. Wins his first World Heavyweight Championship. That's a good one. And then we have, congratulations, you now own an official Seth Rollins worn shirt relic. Alright, so we have a nice little patch of black fabric that was apparently once worn by the former Tyler Black. Yeah, pretty good. And I guess that's it. 2 cards, but yeah, not bad pulls there. That's pretty good, I'll take it. Alright. And now for something completely different, we have Lucha Libre Worldwide AAA from Panini from, I believe, 2019. Yeah, 2019. So yeah, 5 cards out of a 50 card set. So this should be interesting. I've seen a little bit of AAA lately. Not like regularly, but I've watched like the last couple years of Triple Mania shows and things like that. If nothing else, I should know most of the people in this pack. So, and of course, a lot of them have worked in other promotions. A few years ago, AEW was working with AAA, so yeah, let's see who we get in here. There we go. Pagano, I think he's generally considered one of the bigger stars in that company nowadays. I think he had a couple matches in AEW, if I'm not mistaken. I like the backs of these, the kind of old school, like newspaper ad kind of look. We have Australian Suicide. Monster Clown, part of Los Psycho Circus. La Parka from the Campeonatos side series. This would be the, I assume this is La Parka 2 here, not LA Park. This is the La Parka that passed away a few years ago, unfortunately. The second La Parka. That's a cool one, though. And then we got Fabi Apache, one of the top luchadoras. That's a good one, too. This actually has her Lucha de Apuestas record here. That's a nice one. So yeah, those are cool. I'll have to see if I can get more of these. You know, cool action shots, cool characters. The AAA shows are certainly, the consensus seems to be that they're kind of a mixed bag lately. And personally, I actually do appreciate the somewhat more traditional format that CMLL uses. But yeah, you know, it's always fun to see this kind of stuff. And yeah, especially Fabi and Pagano, and La Parka too. You know, some pretty big names there. That's a cool set. All right, so next up we have WWE 2021 trading cards. Look for Hall of Fame cards. 7 cards, packed with a special insert, may contain only 3 to 4 cards. So, well, I guess we'll see if we find any special inserts in here. So yeah, these are by far the most recent cards that I've opened from any company. So we'll see what we find inside here. Come on. There we go. Yeah, I ripped it. That's all right. All right, so we have MVP. Kind of a cool one there. Then we have the Usos, the New Day, defeat... The Usos and the New Day defeat The Miz and John Morrison, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode. Let's see, so when did that take place? That was SmackDown Men's Division. Yeah, I guess it doesn't actually have the episode title, or episode number, rather. Anyway, we have Naomi, so this would have been before her first run ended, right? Before she went to TNA for a little while and then came back. We got Sami Zayn. It's a pretty good kind of action shot there. We have Jimmy Uso. We have Otis qualifies for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match in 2020. And we have a Seth Rollins. All right, so decent little pack there. And now we have 2021 Topps Heritage WWE, both with the phenomenal AJ Styles on the front. I actually told my AJ Styles story, it was actually in the Road Blasters Let's Play video I did, but I'll tell it again here because it's, you know, relevant and probably, you know, there's a fair amount of non-crossover audience between this and my video game videos. But anyway, this would have been 2014, I believe. It was one of the House of Hardcore shows at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie. Me and my buddy went. And, like, the biggest name that they brought in, that Dreamer brought in for that show, was AJ Styles. It was during that kind of window where he was in Ring of Honor and New Japan. he'd left TNA at that point and hadn't gone to WWE yet, of course. But yeah, he was independent, and again, he was primarily working for ROH here and New Japan, in Japan, obviously. But he was the current IWGP Heavyweight Champion, World Champion, so he had the title with him. Who did he wrestled Chris Hero on the show. Great match, too. But it was a non-title. I guess they couldn't get New Japan to sign off on sanctioning it as a title match, so he wrestled Chris Hero, non-title, while IWGP Heavyweight Champion at a House of Hardcore. But anyway, before the show, they had like a big meet and greet, and we had to meet AJ Styles, of course. You know, how many chances would we have to do that, especially since he'd left TNA at that point. So we made sure to get him at the meet and greet, and I had him set up in the ring. Everybody else was either, like, there's a stage area at the Mid-Hudson or kind of the two sides of the arena. Pretty much everybody else was set up there, but Styles was in the ring. There might have been one other person in the ring, too. I'm not sure. But at any rate, we went to get our stuff signed, and I picked out, it was actually his newest 8x10 headshot at the time, which was a Ring of Honor photo. So my signed promo photo for AJ is actually a Ring of Honor branded one. But, you know, just usual small talk at the signing table. Hey, man, I've been following you for years, that kind of thing. I think I told him that I'd actually been, and this was true, I'd been following him since WCW, when he was at the tail end of WCW, when he was there with Air Paris as Air Raid. And that was the first I'd seen him, so it was true. And he was pretty impressed that I'd been following him that long. At least he said so. But anyway, you know, sort of small talk formalities. Then we had gotten the combo, so we got an signed photo and we got to take a picture with him. So I went to have my picture taken with AJ, and I handed my camera to the attendant that was taking the money and everything. And at the time, my phone had a silicone case that looked like an old original Game Boy. And of course, Styles, being a big gamer, he saw that and he says, "Oh man, where'd you get that? That's awesome." So we just got to talking for like 5-6 minutes after that, just about video games. Just, you know, just complete, you know, nerd talk. And it was one of those surreal moments because he had the IWGP World title, like, just sitting on the table next to him, and it was just being completely ignored, and we were just talking about video games, and I told him, he was telling me he'd just gotten a Play Choice 10 for his home arcade, and I was telling him that, you know, we were talking about, like, some of the other games we would want if we could get other arcade units, and I was telling him about Road Blasters. This is why it came up in the Road Blasters Let's Play. Yeah, I have a whole story about Road Blasters at the Pizza Hut in Catskill when I was growing up that I would always play. And sadly, that Pizza Hut closed last year and was actually just torn down about 2 weeks ago, so the building is gone. But yeah, it was just a cool moment. I doubt he remembers it, but, you know, as far as interactions with wrestlers, that's a nice one to kind of take with you. So that's my AJ Styles story. So anyway, let's open these cards. 5 minutes into this section. These are nice, easy packs to open. These are Topps Heritage. All right, so Kevin Owens. Met him when he was still known as Kevin Steen a few times on the indie circuit. And in fact, I think one of the times I met him, if I'm not mistaken, was his last independent match. Like, he was already signed to WWE, but hadn't actually gone there yet. He was wrapping up his dates. So he wrestled Jerry Lawler for Northeast Wrestling in a pile driver versus pile driver match, and I think that was his last independent match. And it was either, I think it was actually during the main event. It was the Young Bucks and maybe Alberto Del Rio and Rey Mysterio tag team match as the main event. But he was sitting behind us doing commentary. Like, the commentary guy was at the very top of the stadium behind where we were sitting, and he came to do guest commentary. So we actually got to listen to him doing guest commentary, and he was hilarious. I don't remember what all he said. But yeah, he's a real nice guy in real life. The couple of times I met him always were very positive. I also saw him actually give the shirt he was wearing. I think it was that same night, that last independent date he did, where, like, he was talking to some other guy, and the guy was saying he wanted to buy the shirt, one of the shirts that not KO at the time, Kevin Steen had brought with him, but he'd run out by the time the guy got there. And Kevin actually took the shirt he was wearing off and gave it to the guy, like literally the shirt off his back. So, yeah, much respect to Kevin Owens, or Kevin Steen. I was a big fan of him before meeting him, and, you know, definitely a guy I'm glad to have met when the opportunity was still there. Anyway, yeah, these Topps Heritage cards, they use, you can see a border from some of the old Topps baseball cards. I'm not sure what exact year this was, but I think this is one of the vintage borders from one of the old baseball card sets. So yeah, anyway, Kevin Owens, that's definitely a keeper. Humberto Carrillo, there we go. Candice LeRae, yeah, I kind of wish she's gotten to do more in WWE, because she was, I saw her independent a few times too, including for FWE, Family Wrestling Entertainment, which is long defunct, but they had like the mother of all 10-man elimination tag team matches. It was the Young Bucks, who was in it? The Young Bucks, Jigsaw, Orange Cassidy, who was still mainly fiery at the time. Like, Orange Cassidy at the time was like a side character he did, and nobody really knew the Orange Cassidy character at that time. But yeah, it was like an early Orange Cassidy match. And there was a local guy on their team, Wes Draven, I think. He did like a street samurai gimmick, like kind of Ghost Dog, the way of the samurai, as I recall. So that was one team, the Bucks, Wes Draven, Jigsaw, and Orange Cassidy. And then on the other side was at the time, I think they were the FWE tag champs that the Bucks were feuding with the Adrenaline Express, which was VSK and EJ Risk, Rhett Titus, and Candice LeRae, the world's cutest tag team. So Candice LeRae and, you know, the guy we don't talk about anymore. But yeah, she was really good in that match. That was like one of the most, and we were actually front row for that one. But yeah, really, really fun match. Just so much going on. That was the FWE open weight tournament night 2, and I think there's a DVD. So if you look for it, you can find that match somewhere out there. Anyway, yeah, that's a good one. Oh, Bobby Roode. I met him, too, actually. I was at a House of Hardcore. It was him and Austin Aries as the Dirty Heels, and I think the main event was them against the American Wolves, if I remember right. But yeah, I did get to meet him. So I have a signed Impact branded 8x10 of him. And much later, like last year, 2024, I finally met James Storm also at a show. So I've completed beer money as far as autographed 8x10s. But yeah, anyway, that's a good shot of Bobby Roode. Looks like still an NXT shot, but yeah, anyway. That's open pack number 2. These are only 4 cards a piece, so little packs, but there's some good stuff in them. Montez Ford, I remember actually seeing them on an NXT house show, him and Dawkins. They were, I mean, obviously they were going to be the Street Profits, but they didn't have that name yet. They were just Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. They weren't on TV or anything, and they were still kind of working out the gimmick, like the Street Profits gimmick. And the main hook they used at the time was that one of them had like bright white high tops, and the other had bright red high tops. I think Ford had the red shoes, and since they weren't really known, the crowd didn't really chant for them by name, but like they did, like Dawkins trying to get the hot tag into Ford, and he got the crowd chanting like red shoes to get him in. All right. Anyway, so there's Triple H in executive mode. Johnny Gargano, actually the other half of, we actually completed, well, depending on the order, actually it'll probably be after this pack is shown in the video, but yeah, in one of the other WWE packs I opened in this video, there's we completed Jimmy Uso and Naomi. So here's another married couple completed, Candice and Johnny. I remember there was an Art of Wrestling podcast that it was like right before he and Candace got married in real life, and it was one of the like panel episodes at some convention, so there were a bunch of people on it, and Little Guido was on it, and then he stayed out when Johnny Gargano came out for Colt to interview him. Johnny was like asking everybody like some word, if anybody had any words of advice for a guy just about to get married. And Guido says, "Yeah, I got some advice for you. Don't get married." And another Sami Zayn. Again, it'll probably come up in. I think they were actually 21 cards too. So actually, I will put these packs after the other pack I opened, so it makes sense. But yeah, there's another Sami Zayn that you just saw opened, most likely, in that other pack. But yeah, it's a good one. So yeah, those are decent little packs. Not bad. All right, so sticking with 2021, next up we've got AEW 2021 from Upper Deck. No special series name or anything. These are just the standard AEW cards, but you got Omega on the front as champion. Stinger, of course. It's Sting. And Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, who is currently said to be on the outs with the company, so who knows. I guess it's an open question as to if, when, or where we'll see her again. But at any rate, 8 cards per pack. May contain time-sensitive redemptions. Yeah, not much else to say, so let's see what we got here. These packs open nice and easy. Alright, so we got the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer. This is a magazine insert series. Wins the Casino Battle Royal at All Out, and unfortunately still has yet to do a whole lot noteworthy. I really haven't utilized him all that well over the years that he's been in the company. But anyway, we got a Darby Allin. That's a good one. Lucha Brothers, of course, no longer, and well, I can't say that. Penta is no longer in the company. He's gone to WWE. Rey Fenix is technically still in the company, but is pretty much in contract limbo until his contract finally runs out. Incidentally, since Omega's on the pack there, the best match I've seen live thus far, at least, Omega and Rey Fenix at Northeast Wrestling. Northeast Wrestling got Omega for one date. It's still the only match he's ever had in that company, but they managed to get him. They put him against Phoenix, and I think it was the first one-on-one match they had against each other. Since then, they've gone one-on-one in AEW and in AAA. Not necessarily in that order. Maybe in that order, but not necessarily. But yeah, anyway, they wrestled at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie for Northeast Wrestling, and I guess they just forgot that they weren't, like, in, the Tokyo Dome or Arena Mexico or something, because they just went all out. It was an incredible match. I think it's still, like, at least according to cage match ratings, for whatever that's worth, I think it's still actually, it might be the highest rated one-on-one match of the 3 they've had. And again, it was in, Northeast Wrestling, a regional independent company, in front of, an arena of 2,000 people. It was sold out. It was easily sold out, but it's not a big venue. But yeah, incredible match. I was actually in a car accident earlier in that week, and I had a ticket for it. My buddy couldn't go. My buddy I usually go with to these shows couldn't make it, so I just, I bought a ticket, and I just thought, I need it, so I'm gonna go see this show. So I just went by myself, and it was a really good time, even though I was on my own. I got to meet Omega, and his signing line was crazy. He had them lined up, like, all the way, like, around the venue, around the interior of the Mid-Hudson, out into the lobby, and then, like, back around. But he signed for everybody, and he's, like, simultaneously signing, taking pictures with people, and warming up for his match. And I met a bunch of other people there too. I met RVD, who was very cool to me. I met the Lucha Brothers, so I actually got both of their autographs, and they were really nice too. Penta had a surprising, I think he gave me the worker's handshake, basically. He had a very surprisingly light handshake, considering how he's known for hard strikes. And it was actually the last time I met Scott Hall. I met Scott Hall twice, and that was the last time, and sadly passed away a couple years later. But yeah, I remember us having a really nice little conversation about nothing really important with Scott Hall, but just cool that, you know, guy who grew up watching and had not been in a good place for so long and seemed to be in a good place that night. He was drinking Coke at his table, and, you know, not paying attention to the open bar or anything. I just remember him just being amazed how many people came out to see this independent show. He's like, I can't believe how many people are here. Yeah, just good memory anyway, but all connected to that match. You know, Ray Phoenix and Kenny Omega. Unbelievable match. And actually on the undercard was Penta and Darby Allin. And this was 2018, so it was before AEW started. So Darby wasn't really a nationally known commodity at that point. But yeah, they had an awesome match too. Like, that could have been the main event, if not for Phoenix and Omega. But yeah, good time. Anyway, good memory. Anyway, who else? Chris Statlander. I actually saw her for the first time. Another show I went to by myself, actually, down on Long Island. A friend of mine was wrestling, and wrestled her, in fact. So yeah, that was the first time I saw her. It was actually a show for the Creative Pro Academy. So the Brian Myers and Pat Buck's wrestling school had a little show, and they still do them, I believe. I think they even have, like, I don't even think they call them academy shows anymore. I think they're, you know, fairly big as a small local independent connected to a wrestling school goes. But yeah, MJF was on that show too. And he was kind of known at that point. First time I saw MJF was actually before he was known at all, for a very small local independent wrestling at a local high school gym, and he was not even like the planned opponent. It was Mike Verna was defending his title, and I forget who he was supposed to wrestle, but they either couldn't make it or something happened anyway, so MJF was a last minute replacement, and again was not known at all. But yeah, it was a good match anyway, and she had a good match too, that first time I saw her. Anyway, another Lance Archer and a shiny one at that. Is this, I guess it's just a foil one. Yeah. Cool effect, though. And we got Orange Cassidy. I told a story probably earlier in this video about the first time I saw Orange Cassidy as that character. He was still primarily known as Fire Ant, but he was in this big 10-man tag team elimination match with the Bucks, and a local guy, Wes Draven, and Jigsaw against world's cutest tag team, the Adrenaline Express, and Rhett Titus. Yeah, this is, I guess, another insert series, main features. Kind of a foil effect on the lettering there. We got Riho, first AEW Women's Champ, right? Well, yeah, it says it right there. And then we have another one of these magazine ones of Hikaru Shida. So that's a cool one, too. All right, so let's see what's in pack number 2 here. Crack this one open. See a Ricky Starks, another guy kind of in AEW limbo at the moment. Probably not going to be there much longer. But anyway, the referees get cards again, just like the older TNA cards. Paul Turner, formerly of Ring of Honor. It's kind of interesting how, like, you know, the referees from all previous promotions ended up in AEW. You had Paul Turner from ROH, you had Bryce Remsburg from Chikara, you have, who else? Rick Knox from PWG. We got Chucky T, who I guess is retired at this point. Unfortunately, I enjoyed him, especially as a heel. He was also fun. He did old wrestling, where he was a moonshiner. He was part of the moonshiner stable, you know, 10 plus years ago. And actually Chucky T again, Chuck Taylor and Trent as the best friends. And we got Randy Rhodes, of course, no longer in the company. And we got Brian Cage, who's kind of actually starting to do something again now in AEW, but they're the main features series again. And then we got Kazarian, who's now back in TNA. We got Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, just going by his real name, turning heel, and, you know, after the whole incident with the guy backstage and all of that. And then, yeah, as mentioned, we have Ricky Starks. Yeah, Upper Deck, they have these nice thick cards, too. Yeah, pretty good set there. No, like, autograph pulls or anything, but still decent selection there of talent from AEW circa 2021. And then you can certainly see how much has changed just in those few years since these cards were put out. And lastly, we have 2022 AEW Allure with somewhat overkill packaging here. You got the regular pack inside a blister pack. So, yeah, the collectibles in this package have been purchased directly from the manufacturer or purchased from the secondary market and repackaged for retail sales. Huh. Okay. I guess this is just a generic Upper Deck card and outer package. Anyway. So, yeah, I assume this is still factory sealed. But yeah, 2022 AEW Allure. What the Allure is, I don't know. Sounds romantic. But, yeah, on the front, we've got a not quite yet timeless Tony Storm, who really killed it with that timeless character, and still is, you know, the last I've seen anyway. You got MJF, you got Powerhouse Hobbs. So, yeah, 6 cards per pack. Collect 1 horizontal SP or Star Futures base set card per pack on average. Yeah, we'll pop this open and see who is inside. All right, so right off the bat, Samoa Joe. And I guess the Allure part is just, I guess that's just the name for this foil series, or Chrome series, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Samoa Joe, I met him, let's see, twice, I think. And both times, one was at a TNA house show. This was in like 2012, I think. And he was out for like the little signing they did at the beginning, but they didn't have like 8x10s or anything. So like, I think I just got everybody that was signing to sign the ticket at that one. And then the second time at a Northeast Wrestling show, I met him and he was out of his own 8x10s. So I had him sign like the program book. But yeah, he was cool to meet, but yeah, I still would like to get, you know, an actual signed 8x10. I know I could buy one online, but that's not the same. I would want to get one in person. So maybe someday, anyway. But yeah, good Samoa Joe shot there. Still rocking the Beatdown Clan colors. And we got Claudio Castagnoli. That's a good one. Here's the Star Futures hook there. Taz's son, of course. He's done pretty well for himself. I know some people think he should go to NXT. I don't know. I think he's done pretty well so far. Yeah, we got Daniel Garcia. Actually, he could easily fit into that Star Futures category, especially for 2022, right? But yeah, he just won the TNT title as of this recording at the last pay-per-view. Yeah, we got Adam Cole, baby. He was a really nice guy, too. When I met him, actually, I think it might have been, like, his last indie shot, too. I know I mentioned that with Kevin Owens a few packs ago. But, yeah, he also did a Northeast Wrestling show in Newburgh, New York, and I met Adam Cole. And, like, he hadn't officially announced that he'd signed to WWE, but it was heavily rumored. And I remember I said to him, like, you know, I won't ask you for the insider info, but I'll see you somewhere sometime soon, I'm sure. You got a kick out of that. But yeah, he was a really cool guy to meet in person. Really nice. I enjoyed meeting him. But yeah, I see for height, they have 5'11" listed. I remember there was like a tail of the tape on one of the NXT shows where they listed him at 6 foot even. He's definitely no 6 foot. I don't think he's actually 5'11" either. I don't want to, you know. Hopefully this isn't slandering the guy, because again, I enjoyed it. You know, he was a nice guy and everything, but I mean, I had a picture taken next to him. I'm at best 5'8", and if anything, I had an inch or so on him. So, yeah, that still might be a little exaggerated. And actually another part of Undisputed Era / Kingdom / whatever, Kyle O'Reilly here. Yeah, so these are nice cards. The one drawback, and I guess this could be fixed by throwing them in top loaders, but because of the like metallic foil finish, they have kind of a bend to them. But yeah, they do look good. You know, the actual photo of the wrestler is set off. Actually, I just noticed the Adam Cole one is color flow. Is that like a limited? I don't see a number on it. Like a whatever out of whatever number. But yeah, kind of an insert series, I guess, anyway. So yeah, those are cool ones. Alright, so just as a little added bonus after opening all those packs of cards, here's something interesting. These are some antique wrestling cards. Obviously not in a sealed pack or anything. These actually would have come in packs of Ogden cigarettes, as you can see. But these are pro wrestlers from 1908. The cards themselves from 1908, Ogden Cigarettes again being the issuer, as it says. They are British in origin, it looks like. But yeah, we have some interesting names here. First and foremost, the multi-time World Heavyweight Champion, Stanislaus Zbyszko. You can see on the card, he's just listed as Zbyszko with questionable spelling of that, but I guess they didn't even want to take a shot at spelling Stanislaus. Either that or Vinnie Mac went back in time and got rid of his first name when the card came out. Who knows? But yeah, this says Zbyszko, the Galician wrestler, has an almost unbeaten record in the final of the great tournament at the Casino de Paris. Well, Casino de Paris, so probably they would have said Casino de Paris, right? He defeated George Lurich, and his other quote-unquote victims are Padumbi, Suleiman, and Madrali. Although only 5 feet 8 inches in height, that's, I believe, correct. He was actually not a tall guy. He weighs 18 stone. I'd have to, you know, being American, I'd have to figure out what that translates to. And has the largest bicep of any athlete in the world, i.e. 21 inches. Or 21-inch pythons, brother. But yeah, cool, cool artwork there. It's in pretty good shape, too, for, you know, a card that's very nearly 120 years old. Yeah, I have it packaged up like this in the card saver because whenever I send another batch of cards off to SGC, these are going to be among them. So I'm going to get these primarily for preservation purposes, slabbed. I don't intend to sell them or anything, but I would like to get these slabbed up just to preserve them because they are actually very thin. I'm not going to take it out, but you can kind of see even through the card saver the thickness of these cigarette cards. The other two I will show, because they're the other two I have of this set so far anyway, are Joe Carroll and Peter Gott, not necessarily in that order. These two are interesting because both of their cards actually talk about a match that, believe it or not, I've actually seen. Just to read them first, so here's, again, Peter Gott, and here's Tabby. Excuse me, ma'am. So yeah, Peter Gotts is a German with a record extending from England to South Africa and from Russia to the States. He has beaten Jack Karkik and was a runner-up in both the Heavyweight Championship at Canterbury Music Hall, London, and the Alhambra tournament, on which occasion he was beaten by Joe Carroll. His methods are clean and quote-unquote above board. So, a baby face of the era. Then we have Joe Carroll. There he is again. Joe Carroll was born at Hindley, Lancashire, and laid the foundation of his foundation while quite a lad. He was probably engaged in more contests than any other wrestler. He has met and defeated Jack Smith of Manchester, Peter Gotts, and Tom Connors, and at the Alhambra won the Lord Lonsdale Cup, which carried with it the middleweight championship of the world. So again, both of these are talking about this tournament for the middleweight title at the Alhambra, in which Joe Carroll beat Peter Gotts. Again, that's notable because that is a match that you can see, and I have seen it, but you can see it too. If you go on YouTube, search for the George Hackenschmidt and Joseph Rogers match, which was just uncovered last year. It's the only known footage that's ever been found of George Hackenschmidt, and the first footage that's ever been found of him wrestling. So the first World Heavyweight Champion, as he's recognized, you can watch a match from. But the reel of film that match was discovered on, the Hackenschmidt-Rogers match, that was a 2 out of 3 falls, which was common at that time. But in between the 2 falls, spoiler, Hackenschmidt wins both falls, so there are only 2 falls in the match. But yeah, for whatever reason, on the reel of film that match was discovered on, in between the 2 falls of Hackenschmidt-Rogers is actually the Joe Carroll-Peter Gotts match. So you can actually see that match in its entirety. So, you know, check out fall number 1 of the Hackenschmidt match. Then you can watch this, and then after that you'll see fall number 2 of Hackenschmidt-Rogers. But yeah, you can see these guys wrestle, and again, Joe Carroll won that bout. I'm not sure which round of the tournament it was, I'd have to look that up, but yeah, at any rate, Joe Carroll won and advanced, and ultimately won the tournament itself. So maybe that was the final, I'm not sure, but yeah, apparently he did win the tournament in its entirety. And it looked like it was actually an injury that ended it. It looked like Peter Gotts actually got injured, because you can see the referee and some other people coming into the ring. And the ring is, you know, in modern terms, kind of loosely. It was just kind of a square of canvas on the stage of the music hall. But yeah, anyway, a bunch of people come out after the match is called off. A bunch of people come in and check, you can see, on Peter Gotts. And eventually, it looks like he kind of walks it off, so I guess he was okay. I'd have to look more into exactly what happened there. But interesting stuff, anyway. It's just, you know, it's very interesting to me to see, you know, the origins of our entertainment form of choice, and, you know, see who came before and how the style evolved and changed over time. So, yeah, check that out. Again, to find it, you'd probably search for the Hackenschmidt-Rogers match, but you'll find this match in the same video. So, yeah, anyway, cool stuff. Glad to have these, and I'll have to look for more in the set. There were 50 in all, and it is the Pugilists and Wrestlers series, so it is boxers and wrestlers. I'm not sure how many athletes of each type are in it. But, yeah, I'll have to look into getting at least more of the wrestlers. Frankly, I'd be interested in the boxers, too, because I do kind of enjoy the history of boxing, especially in the old days as well. So, yeah, I'd have to see if there's a checklist and see who all is involved in the Pugilists and Wrestlers series on the wrestlers side. But yeah, these are cards. Stanislaus Zbyszko is card number 9. Joe Carroll is 29. And Peter Gotts is 40, all out of 50. So yeah, anyway, just a cool little thing to throw in at the end. So that's Wrestling Mania number 2, and hope you enjoyed it. We'll do this again sometime, I'm sure, and we'll have other cards in between. But yeah, for now, this has been Dan's Card Corner. Hit like and subscribe, and have a good night.